What's going on, guys? It is now 1:20 in the morning. Just finishing up UFC Fight Night. Derek Brunson versus the return, or what was supposed to be the return, of Lyoto Machida. And now we knew going into this fight that it's been quite some time since the last time these guys even won, almost going on to 3 years ago since that fight with CB Dalloway. He went on a 2-fight losing streak after that and then got busted right before the Dan Henderson fight with 7 Keto, whatever. I still can't remember what the name was. He came back in tonight to step inside the octagon. Not many of us knew what to really expect. Was his speed and timing going to be there? Do we even believe in ring rust? I brought up a great example of when the Korean Zombie returned earlier this year. Like some examples where ring rust really wasn't a factor. Dominic Cruz, when he returned to fight TJ Dillashaw, won the belt back. But tonight, I don't know what to say about the ring rust. Did Lyoto seem a little slower to you guys? I thought he was doing pretty well as the first round started going on, but unfortunately he got caught with I believe the left hand of Derek Brunson and just dropped. And the one thing I have to say that really stands out tonight as we recap tonight's card was there were so many late calls. I mean, so many times there was just moments where I was cringing, just going like, oh my God, that's enough. One too many, two too many. Just, these fighters don't need that. They really don't. Every punch after they're out is causing some serious damage on these fighters. And the older they get, the more damage each of those shots are doing. So, Derek Brunson at the same time, happy to see that he's pulling the trigger tonight. He found success before in the past moving forward, but then he had to pay the ultimate price for it when he got knocked out by Robert Whittaker. So tonight was the perfect mix of his wrestling skills and his striking. Once again, this is a guy who came into the scene as a wrestler, just like Johnny Hendricks, like I said in the preview show, and found his hands. It's been a problem when he goes too much for his hands. Tonight, I saw the perfect mixture of his wrestling. Well, for the most part, he wasn't really rushing in, but he was pulling the trigger. In that fight with Anderson Silva, he was just not pulling the trigger, and we were all like, is it because it's Anderson Silva? Is he looking up to it? Is he putting him on a pedestal? Well, let's look at this fight. Is he going to be doing the same thing against Lyoto, who's also a legend in the UFC, or will he have enough confidence coming off that TKO win of Dan Kelly? Well, we saw it tonight. Derek Brunson calling out Luke Rockhold, and I love it. Every time tonight, DC did a great job with the commentary for the post-fight. I mean, I like it a lot better when he has somebody like Joe Rogan next to him or John Anik. I mean, you can only do so much when there's only two of you. Some people don't even like the 3-team, but I think DC did a great job asking fighters, what's next? Who do you want to fight next? And some fighters might get a little upset about this. I know, but come on, you have to say something. There are so many people watching. The cameras are on you right now. You have the most people's attention. Now is the time to say something where we can get a whole community of people. UFC tags were trending all night on Twitter. If you could say something in your post-fight speech to get people pumped up, Kobe Covington did a great job. We're going to be talking about that in a second. He surprised a lot of people, angered thousands of people. We're going to break into that in a second. But Luke Rockhold versus Derek Brunson. What do you guys think? Luke Rockhold coming off the win, of course, to who the hell did Luke Rockhold just beat? David Branch. That's right. Just beat David Branch by in the second round. So I'm all for that fight. I mean, this division's on hold. The winner of that fight, who knows what's next? I mean, there's a lot of great fighters in this division. You still got Robert Whittaker right there in the mist. You got UFC 217 coming up. There are so many answers that we're going to have a lot of our questions answered after UFC 217, especially with the bantamweight division where John Lineker comes into mind. So we're going to be busting into that. Forgot to mention, guys, I'm Evil Eddie from Pure Evil MMA, MyMMAnews.com. Thanks for tuning into the recap show. We're going to be just reliving some of the best and most memorable parts of tonight's fights. Whether you're listening to this live on YouTube, make sure you subscribe down below. We do this after every live event for UFC. And also, if you're listening to this on the podcast, definitely want to subscribe to that. That is the mothership. That's where I put the most time into my editing. You're going to... It's a really comforting podcast. I mean, not only do I do the recaps, I give updates on the news. I have UFC fighters, Bellator fighters, Titan FC fighters, other analysts, other journalists, come on the show. We're going to be doing a end of the year show coming up. It's October, got November, December. We got some exciting events coming up. A couple of exciting events coming up in the next couple of weeks here. So make sure you subscribe below here on Pure Evil MMA. That's what I get for listening to the commentary tonight. So, all right, Damian Maia going into there the first round. He was actually piecing up Colby Covington in the first round. Colby Covington started bleeding, I believe, out of his right eye. Damian Maia wasn't really expecting him to come out swinging like that. It kind of makes me worried because Colby Covington, after this fight, was calling out Tyron Woodley. Now, if Damian Maia can do that to Colby Covington, I got to really take a step back and think about how this is going to play out and I don't think it's going to happen right away, but Colby Covington's making all the right moves to get there if Colby Covington does fight Tyron Woodley. So, just keep that in mind as we talk about this. I think Colby did a great job in this fight. On the pre-show, I was a little worried, and I told you guys, I was like, we see a lot of fighters have some trouble with Damian Maia in the first round, but let's look at the guys who have got past Damian Maia. How have they figured him out? Well, somehow you got to survive that first round. If you can stuff a couple of takedowns, discourage Damian Maia, you're going to start seeing that his cardio is going to be going down, and he's going to get discouraged. He's going to get upset that you're stuffing his takedowns. You're using up a lot of energy doing that. Whatever the case, we see it time after time when that happens. But Damian Maia was using so much energy with the strikes, and he was getting far with it. He was doing a great job. Even Bilal Muhammad was like, dude, stop going for the takedowns. Try to use your strikes. It was working, but it just seemed like Damian Maia was just gassed. He really wanted Colby to come out on the ground with him. Wasn't going to happen. Colby Covington did a great job in the second and third round, but Maia, man, just pushing forward and striking in that first round, clipped Colby Covington a few times. It just really makes me wonder how a fight with Woodley would go. So much respect for Colby Covington, though. There are so many people out there that are probably just so mad, biting their lip right now. But at the same time, Colby Covington, man, made leaps and bounds this year. When I interviewed him, probably about a year ago now, he was telling me that EA Sports, when they're coming out with the UFC game, they were going to put him in originally. They even set him up with a whole bunch of electronics, had those little things all over his body to, measure his movements, catch out his, fight style and speed and stuff like that. And they didn't even make his character and publish it into the game. Well, now this guy's just beating the top 3 ranked opponent in that division. EA Sports, this is a message to you, and I hope that all of my listeners send EA Sports this message, because I did tonight on my Twitter. Even retweet my Twitter message to EA Sports. You have to make a Colby Covington character. How is he not in there? Why is it not like the NFL game that you guys have? Why is it not like Madden, where the roster updates all the time, constantly? I mean, I haven't played Madden in a while, but I'm pretty sure they do that. Pretty sure they do that in the NBA games too. Why is Colby Covington not on the UFC game? I don't even play the UFC game. I do over my friend's house. Not that big of a deal. It just, this guy deserves it. So let's get behind Colby Covington. It was so funny. Of course, the Brazilians had a great run tonight. I believe they got 9-3. They went 9-3 on the night for Brazilians taking home the win, with the exception of course, Lyoto Machida, Damian Maia, and further back on the card. Who was it? Further back on the card. Gordon beating Hakran Diaz by Gordon pounds Diaz at the end of 2 and 3. Yeah, decision. So big win for the Brazilians tonight. I mean, that place was silent when that last fight went down. I was silent myself. I haven't even finished filling out my notebook. It's just completely blank. I was just like, wow, did that really just go down? Well, all in all, a great night for Brazil. But moving forward, Damian Maia now on a 2-fight losing streak. What is next for him? I mean, does he have one more title run in him? What is he going to decide to do? I don't know. But, the fans were attacking Colby Covington as he was leaving the stadium. He had some choice words for the Brazilians. I'll clip it in on the podcast. But, calling Brazilians filthy animals, don't go that far, man. You just got the win. I know that you're probably upset that they're booing you. Your adrenaline's going. You just got into a fist fight. But, you got to be very careful with what you say. Angering the Brazilians is not the best way to do it. But then again, Whether people are hating you or loving you, you're getting the attention, and that's exactly what Colby Covington did. So win-win in his book. But, I would not go that far of attacking an entire nation, especially while I have to spend the weekend down in that country. So let's wish Colby a good flight and a safe flight home. Moving forward, we had Rob Font versus Pedro Munoz. Munoz defeats Rob Font in a submission for the first time ever in his career in the very first round. Munoz gets the win. Before that, Trinaldo versus Jim Miller. Jim Miller, man, now on a 3-fight losing streak. Trinaldo, I gave him 2 rounds, gave Miller 1. But Miller, man, he's fighting so often, and even in his corner, you could hear him say, if you go back, rewind it, and play it, he was just like, I forgot the exact words, but he was like, I don't have an answer, or something along those terms, where he just wasn't really confident in himself to go out there and finish the fight with Trinaldo. But let's see what we got with our UFC Pick'em winners, which I'm going to announce in just a second. Moving forward, Santos versus Hermansson. Santos gets the first round TKO finish. Man, and with like a second left in the fight too. That was a very good fight. Santos going in there, and he's an older fighter now at this point. 1 second left in the fight. Hermansson has never been finished before, and it happens tonight in the last second. Santos just exploding when he heard the 10-second clip. Just went nuts. He did that a couple times in the fight, was able to recover, and he pulled the trigger at the right time, was able to get the finish with literally a second left. And I didn't think that they were going to even call it, because it was so close. And throughout the night, we've seen so many late calls where they just let it happen. Weren't really calling fights off. Thought fighters were protecting themselves. In this case, the Brazilian was attacking, and they called the fight last second. So big win for Thiago Santos. All right. And before that, John Lineker against Marlon Vera. So the first round, I even saw a lot of people out there like Alex Cafaldi saying, I'm really worried about Lineker in the first round and his cardio. How's he going to go about this fight? Well, we didn't see him pull the trigger much, but he pulled it twice or maybe 3 times in the first round, just to give us a little taste of what was to come, which was very smart, not to really feed into the crowd that was booing behind him. Of course, he wants to put on for his city, put on for the country. But you got to play smart. You don't want to gas yourself out. He did exactly that in the second and third round, just piecing up Marlon Vera. Very slow first round, though, but pulling the trigger at the end of the first, and then the second and third, I gave the decision to Lineker. First and second round. Vera, though, man, he has really rough first and second rounds, and then somehow comes around and ends up looking better. I was even tweeting about it. I was like, guys, don't forget about the Brad Pickett fight. Pickett was beating him 2 rounds. You have to be careful. John Lineker is the guy that will bite down and just start squaring off with you. Doesn't really care if he's up 2 rounds. He's not going to play it slow. He's going to give it all he's got. If a guy wants to stand toe-to-toe with him, you bet your ass that he's going to go. And like I said, bite down and bring it to you. So I was getting a little nervous there. Lineker was able to get the win moving forward. So, get off that losing streak, coming off that loss to TJ Dillashaw, I believe. Correct me if I'm wrong, but yeah, I believe his last fight and loss was to TJ Dillashaw. Before that, going on an amazing win streak, beating McDonald, beating John Dodson, which I thought was a very close fight. Moving on, Vicente Luque, which I knew was a dangerous animal going into this fight. A lot of diehards out there remember him from Ultimate Fighter, Hader Hassan, and all those guys. Diego, he comes out with the win over Nico Price. Now, Nico Price just fought a couple of weeks ago, beating Alan Jouban. That was a great win for him. I was surprised to hear that he was going in to fight Vicente Luque. I mean, not many people... Let me say this. Vicente Luque is a very underrated fighter. Not many people realize what a great fighter this guy is. I don't know the rankings for Vicente Luque, or if he even is ranked, but Price, man, after beating Alan Jouban, who's like right there, top 15, and to fight so soon, I mean, I don't know what the decision was behind that, but, Vicente Luque is just a son of a bitch, man. If you got past him, he's a tough match. It's a very tough match. Nico Price have to go back to the drawing boards here while he he just had such great momentum too after that first round finish over Alan Jobat, and just didn't let Alan get the engine really started and warmed up. Just came out, laid it all out there, got the win, and a couple weeks later, here we are, right back to square one with a loss over Vicente Luque down in Brazil. Just a rough one for Nico Price, but a win for Vicente Luque. All right, so Carlos Jr. gets the first round submission over Marsman. Another win for Brazil there. Hakran Diaz, which I went for, fortunately doesn't get the win. Gordon gets the win. Dos Santos versus Griffin. Griffin was almost finished in the first round. Here's another prime example of a fight that was probably could have been called in the first round by the referee. I thought maybe the corner was going to throw in their towel, but you know what happens when that occurs. The fighters lash out on their team. They freak out on the ref, but you got to remember, when you're taking damage like that, you're knocked out, you're not aware of your surroundings. It's really shouldn't be left in your hands. I mean, I even wonder if he even knows what happened in that first round. But he was able to come back. Griffin was, well, he didn't get the win, but he was able to have a better second and third round. But Dos Santos coming out with the win. Golm with the first round rear naked choke on his debut. Just a great night all around. A lot of finishes. I only thought there was going to be 2 or 3 decisions. Great night. So let's see who won on the UFC Pick'em app for the Pure Evil MMA Pick'em League. In first place, we have Iceman, who's just been killing it lately. So big shout out to Iceman. Let's take a look at the card. In second place, Minion, been ranking out on the top last couple of weeks. And then we got in third place, and Chillzone 95 fourth, our boy General Yusuf, coming out on top in the top 5. And in fifth place, we got Max. In sixth, Wicked Ways. In seventh, Mike Into the Storm. In eighth, your boy right here, Evil Eddie. All right, so we got Kerry Scroggins ranking in here. All right, it's Iceman, a matter of fact, who's actually our UFC Pick'em winner. So thanks for joining in. Let's see what we're ranking here in the chat room. All right, so Iceman saying, hashtag Pure Evil MMA family for life. Had to pull off a comeback on Pick'em tonight with picks of Munoz submission, Covington decision, and Brunson KO. Those tight matchup bonuses pulled me through. And man, great picks there with Colby Covington. I mean, I thought it was really, let me say this, I thought it was really crazy going into this fight that Colby Covington was a favorite over Damian Maia. I personally, as you can see, I'll switch over to the scene. Unfortunately, you can't see this on the podcast, but everyone tuning in on YouTube and the video cast can see my picks right here from Tapology.com. I went with Damian Maia, first round submission. I thought that was going to be the safest way to go. Damian Maia, though, I mentioned this earlier on in the show, coming out, throwing hands. Really pushing forward on Colby Covington. I was really surprised. Really gassed himself out there. Started going for takedowns in the second and third. Just getting really upset that Colby was blocking him. And I really wasn't too surprised that Colby wasn't even blocking him. I even thought that maybe Colby was sick enough in the head to even try a takedown of his own and then try to pop back up. He's just that crazy. He's just chaotic, like in his name. So really good call there, guys. Anyone who picked Colby Covington tonight, and what a rough night he's probably going to have. I don't know where he's going to go party tonight, and I'm sure he's so fired up. There's so many people out there that are just like, wow, how can you doubt this guy now? How can you doubt Colby Covington at this point? Now he's being top 3 ranked, guys. But this is what scared me. I said it earlier on in the podcast. He's calling out Champ. He really wants to win that belt. But Damian Maia, a guy who's not really a striker. I mean, yeah, he's a vet. Has been in the cage for so many, countless years. At this point, he definitely has picked up some striking skills, but let's face it, Tyron Woodley is on a different level than Damian Maia when it comes to striking. I think that Colby Covington did a great job. He needs to tighten it up a little bit, but it's just a scary thought thinking about him going toe-to-toe with Tyron Woodley if Damian Maia was catching him here and there in the first round. But exciting fight all around tonight, man. So that was a great pick. Also calling Brunson. So that was another fight. Just didn't know what to expect from either guy. Didn't know what to expect from Lyoto. Didn't know what to expect from Derek Brunson. If he was going to be confident enough after that win over Dan Kelly to really pull the trigger tonight And he did. He was able to get the shot on the Dragon. Ends up slaying him. So I got to ask you guys, what did you rate tonight's card out of 5 stars? Let me know on Twitter at evil_echo. That's EVIL_ECCO. Make sure you guys are following me on mymmanews.com. If you need a link for the video cast, if you need a link for the podcast so you guys can subscribe, it's all on mymmanews.com. Fight night updates all throughout the night, mymmanews.com. Weekly news updates at mymmanews.com. You do not want to miss out on anything when it comes to this sport, because you miss a week in MMA, you are so far behind. And that was a big thing tonight as we saw Lyoto return into the octagon. We say it all the time. This sport is evolving so fast. 2 years out of the cage is like 5 years. So Derek Brunson going in there, getting the first round TKO finish over Lyoto. I have to rate this card out of 5 stars. I'm giving it a 4. Mentioned this before. It was a hidden gem. All right, so Ruben Medina Jr. says, what? What are you saying? What about? Gotta ask you guys, what are you rating this out of 5 stars? I'm giving it 4 out of 5. It was free, but you know, one thing I do have to mention is I hate jumping around. I mean, the beginning of the fights you had on UFC Fight Pass, then they're on FS2, then they're on FS1. It's just so difficult. I mean, if you buy UFC Fight Pass, you should be able to watch the fights that are on FS1, but unfortunately, FS1 owns it, so you got to tune in. You got to kind of jump around. It's just hard. It's very difficult when viewing fights like that. Let me know what you guys think on Twitter. I'm Evil Eddie from Pure Evil MMA, mymmanews.com. Behave yourselves.